spent a lot of time at the park here.
It's the first time in nearly 2 years that Danielle Klock has walked this trail.
And sometimes if I needed to find him, this is where he'd be.
It's the park she used to visit a lot to find her son, Jet.
I don't think I've been back since Jet died.
Jet struggled with psychosis and ultimately passed away in 2023 from complications of living on the streets. He was just 25 years old.
Being Jet's mom was the most challenging and the most beautiful experience of my life.
Danielle felt helpless.
For the rest of my life, I'm going to be the mother of a dead son. And that's not what I wanted for my life. And it's not what I wanted for his life. And I'm stuck with it.
Despite the overwhelming loss,
I know that Jet wants me to be okay. I know that. You know, one thing at a time.
Danielle knew she had to find a way to go on.
There's no avoiding grief, and there's no avoiding pain. And so what do we do with it?
It's a question everyone faces eventually in one way or another.
I would hope that most people would give this a try.
Clinical psychologist Lindsay Lerner thinks the answer lies in the power of magic mushrooms.
I truly believe that this has the potential to heal the world, and I don't mean to sound super cheesy, but I do. I feel like there's a calling for something like this.
Danielle hopes that potential is her way forward.
Going in for my psilocybin therapy session now.
On a Thursday in the middle of May, she allowed us to follow along as she began her journey with psilocybin therapy.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
You too.
Welcome.
We joined her at Seven Gate Sanctuary in Northeast Portland.
Yeah, thank you for trusting me with this.
So the mushrooms are in the packaging, and they will open it.
So it allows for new pathways to be made. So if there's a very old pattern or way of thinking or feeling, it gets opened up for you to think about things in a new way. That can be really helpful for grief.
They can just have some tea to sip on after they eat the mushroom.
Lindsay chose McKenna mushrooms for Danielle, which she says are middle range when it comes to potency.
Really good for trauma processing. It's really good for emotional release, for grief, things like that. So I have you in the Rose Room today. So we're right over here.
Then she settled into the Rose Room,
So this is where Danielle will be doing her journey.
which under Oregon law, we weren't able to film. But before she began her session,
A love that does not depend on word nor place.
we joined her for a poem.
Get ready to break open for love. But oh, the joy of discovering your loved one right where you left them.
I'm ready.
You're ready.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We met her again 1 week later.
Hello,
Hi.
how are you doing today?
Great. Yeah, everything feels different.
Danielle's session at the center lasted about 4 hours. She says it was more intense and powerful than she expected.
I really felt like I was out of my body quite a lot. I wasn't sure if my eyes were open or closed.
Beyond that, she couldn't put her physical experience into words. But then I asked about the emotional impact.
This experience was probably the most profound gift that I've ever received in my entire life, because it encompassed my entire life.
It sounds like you have a lot of acceptance now.
Complete acceptance. Complete. 100% complete.
Is that at all surprising given just 1 week ago it felt very different?
I don't know that I can relate to that person anymore. There's no sense of loss, though. It's just the opposite.
Then we talked about the pain from losing Jet.
I still get some difficult emotions, of course. I'm still human. The grief has transformed for me into something softer. It's not something that I dread anymore. It's more of a soft blanket instead of a tidal wave.
It's a part of her journey she never imagined, but one she's now ready to embrace.
If I could choose to have my son alive, of course that's what I would choose. And I can't choose that. I don't get that. So having this transformational experience with my grief, I think, is the most beautiful outcome that I could have possibly imagined. And that's more than enough.
Stephanie joins me now. Stephanie, wow, what a transformation. Is this a typical type of result for patients?
So I asked Dr. Lerner that question, and she said, really, there is no typical response because everyone's an individual, everyone has a different life experience, and so different things come up for different people. She did say that psilocybin is known to really bring up things that maybe you didn't go into treatment for, so it's really important to kind of know that along the way and ask your facilitator about it.
And how long do these results or effects last?
So Dr. Lerner also told me that typically in clinical studies, it shows that the treatment still has the impact at the 12-month marker. And for some people, this can be lifelong impact.
And did Danielle have any other effects from this?
So it was really interesting. A side effect she completely did not expect at all was that she had a really bad case of COVID back in 2021, and she said her sense of smell actually came back after doing psilocybin
Oh
therapy.
my gosh.
Yeah,
Wow.
which was really, really fascinating.
Now, Stephanie, I have to ask you, what was this like for you reporting on this story?
Well, first, I just want to say thank you so much to Danielle for sharing this story. I mean, she was so vulnerable with us, let her follow along in this journey. She had no idea how it was going to go in the end. I mean, neither did we. And so to be able to see her on the other side of this grief and to have complete acceptance, like you heard her say, I mean, it was so powerful to me. It's one of these stories as journalists that really stick with us, and this is going to be one of those for me. So really just a big thank you to her for letting us follow along. I do also want to mention there's a lot of research about what psilocybin therapy can do for other people. Of course, trauma we mentioned, depression, now grief, but there's also a lot of studies looking at things like addiction as well underway right now. So coming up on Straight Talk this week, we'll actually have a researcher on the show to talk about what they're looking at and different ways that psilocybin therapy could be used to help people in the future.
All right, Stephanie, well, thanks so much. And if you want to catch that episode of Straight Talk, it'll air Saturday and Sunday at 6 o'clock right here on KGW, or at 7 o'clock on Monday night right after the story. And if those times don't work for you, keep an eye on our TV app, KGW Plus, where the episode will be posted this weekend.